Hi, my name's Andy Jardine. I'm with the Office of Personnel Management. My purpose today is to tell you a little management fable. It's a fable that I hope, as with all fables, you'll find entertaining. There are some amusing aspects of this particular tale. It's also a fable that, as with all fables, has a lesson, and I hope you'll learn and think about it a little. It has a lesson for organizations in particular. This fable is the work of a fellow in our office named Mike Burr and myself, and it's based upon a book by a gentleman named Anthony Jay. The book is called Corporation Man. In Jay's book, what he does is he proposes a theory that modern organizations have not really developed that much in comparison to when they were hunting bands, when people used to have to go out and hunt animals in order to exist. What Mike and I have done is taken his premise a little further and developed it a little more. If you think back to when people first formed these hunting bands, it was necessary that they catch animals, kill the animals, and eat them in order to survive. When the hunting bands were small, there weren't many problems. Everyone had a job to do. Everyone knew his or her job. As the organization of the hunting band became bigger, though, people realized certain things could be taken advantage of. Certain specialties could be developed. Within the hunting band, they realized they could organize a little more. They realized they needed a boss. They realized they needed a leader, someone who would organize them. They realized that certain people can do certain things better than other people. For instance, there are some people who are particularly fast, and they decided that it would be these individuals' job to chase the animals, scare them, and get them on the run. There's other people who were particularly adept at throwing spears. Their job would be to do that, throw the spear, hopefully bring the animal down. There were other people physically large, big shoulders, small heads, no necks. These people later went on to become linebackers in the NFL. Their job was basically, if the animals got through or if the animals only got wounded, they threw them to the ground and hopefully broke their neck or maimed them in some way. This organization proved effective. Specialties worked out, and everything was being accomplished well. Animals were being caught, animals were being killed, animals were being consumed. A change occurred, however, one day when one of the hunters came up to the boss and explained that he couldn't go on the hunt that day. Naturally, the boss was concerned. That's what all bosses are supposed to be. Why can't you go on the hunt? He had been to management classes. He knew you were supposed to make people think they were needed. He said, "We're very concerned about you. We need you out on the hunt. What's wrong?" And the hunter went on to tell him that one of the things that had happened when he was on the hunt the other day, he had fallen and he had hurt his leg. And the boss remembered that. He said, "Oh yeah, I remember that. How's the leg?" And the hunter said, "It's not too good, boss." He said, "Really?" He said, "On days like today when it's rainy and damp, it really bothers me." And he went on to demonstrate how before he hurt his leg, he could walk normally. But now he had this limp, and he felt that he would be a detriment on the hunt and would actually serve to hold the other people back. Well, this caused the boss a problem, because he needed people on the hunt, and he couldn't have people around, sitting around doing nothing. So he posed this problem to the hunter. He said, "Well, what are you going to do?" And this hunter had been thinking about it. He realized that when everybody went on the hunt, one of the things they had to do when they brought the animals back, they had to drag them all the way in, build a campfire, clean the animal, they had to set the table, eat, clean up, and it was a never-ending job. And what he proposed was that he would stay back, he would have the campfire going. When they brought the animal in, he would take the animal from them. They could go to the tents, they could have a martini, watch the news, shower, whatever they wanted to do. He'd clean the animal, cook the animal. When the food was ready, he'd call them all out. They would sit around, consume the food. They'd get up, leave. He would take care of the cleanup operation. He would do everything. All they had to do was bring the animals in. The boss thought that was a fantastic idea. He was very pleased that he, the boss, had thought of it. So what you have now is one guy who stays back, and his job is to take care of the campfire. And that's fine, so long as the hunters continue to bring the animals back. That has to keep happening. The finest campfire in the world is no good without animals to cook. Well, this system is going along for a little while with no problems. And then one day, one of the hunters comes up again to the boss hunter, and he says, "Boss hunter," he says, "I have a problem. Remember the other day I was out on the hunt, I started to get these pains across my chest." Boss says, "Yeah." He says, "I was very concerned about that." He says, "Well, I went to the dispensary, and they gave me a cardiogram over there, and the doctor told me that you've got a bad problem with the old pump." He said, "I'm going to suggest light duty for you." And the doctor gave me a slip, and it says, "This guy should be on light duty." Well, the boss hunter looks at it. He realizes, we don't have light duty. What is this light duty stuff? And he says, "We don't have light duty." Well, the guy who takes care of the campfire happens to be listening. And he says, "Is there a problem, boss hunter?" And the boss hunter says, "There sure is." He says, "This guy's got a light duty slip, and we don't have light duty." And the boss, and the campfire guy says, "Well," he says, "I've been thinking. See, one of the things that happens, when you go out for the hunt, I never know which way you're going to come back. And that means that we've got to drag the animals all the way through the camp. And it's more work for me, it's more work for you. I'm proposing that we have a campfire at each end of the camp." I was reading a magazine, and a benefit of this, were you aware of the fact that the animals are afraid of fire? Well, boss hunter says, "No, I wasn't." Actually, they are. They're very afraid. That would serve as a security measure. And the boss hunter says, "Well, that's a fantastic idea. A campfire at each end of the camp. I don't know why I didn't think of it before. We'll do it." So now you have two people who stay back by the campfire. Now, the campfire guy also realizes, he tells the boss hunter, he says, "Boss," he says, "if we have two people staying back and we have two fires, that means twice as much wood, twice as much work has to be done. I think we need somebody to coordinate the efforts of these two people. We need a boss campfire person." So now you have a boss campfire person, you have somebody that takes care of one campfire, you have somebody that takes care of another campfire, and it's all fine so long as what? So long as the animals keep coming back. So long as there's animals to cook, the campfire can prosper. Things go on for a while, and after we start to notice more and more people are staying back by the campfire. For instance, one guy came up to the boss hunter, and he said, "Boss, is there any doubt that I am the finest spear sharpener in this camp, if not the known world?" Boss hunter says, "No, I don't think there's any doubt about that." Well, then it's senseless to waste my efforts out on the hunt. What I should do, and what I'm going to propose, is that I stay back and I sharpen the spears. That way, the guys can have the finest spears available so that when they throw the spear, it penetrates the animal, brings the animal down. What happens now? A lot of these guys don't know how to throw a spear. They see an animal, or sharpen a spear. They see an animal, they throw the spear, it's so dull, hits the side of the animal and falls off, and the animal gets away. Even the linebackers can't catch it. But a boss hunter says, "That's a good idea. I think that's what we ought to do." So now you have a guy who stays back and sharpens the spears. This can go on so long as what? So long as the animals keep coming back. Now, where we run into serious trouble in the camp and in organizations is when the campfire people start to think they're more important than the hunter. And the way this happens generally goes something like this. The boss hunter comes up and he needs some spears. So where does he go? He goes to the spear person. Now, one of the things that's happened is since the spear person's very good at sharpening spears, a lot of time on his hands. And what he's done is he's fixed up his little enclave, and he's got this nice little corner of the camp, and there's rugs on the floor, and it's air conditioned, and there's fancy lighting, and he has music, and he has these hardwood racks that he stores all the spears in, and it's just beautiful. And the boss hunter comes up and he says, "Good morning, spearman." And the spearman says, "Good morning, boss hunter. It's a lovely day, isn't it?" And the boss hunter says, "It certainly is." And the spearman says, "Lord, it's on days like this that I miss the hunt. I wish I could be out on the hunt with you guys." And the boss says, "Well, I have a spot if you want to come out with us today." "Oh, I wish I could. But unfortunately, I'm too busy sharpening these spears. But enough of my problems. What can I do for you?" "Well, you can give me give me 7 spears, please. 7 spears coming right up as soon as I receive the broken ones." "What broken ones? Didn't you read the new policy we established? You don't get any new spears until you turn in the broken ones." "Well, no, I didn't see that." "Well, gee, we made sure it got dissemination. All of the hunters were supposed to have seen it." "Well, I didn't see it." "Well, I'm sorry. My hands are tied. What I'd suggest, go out and find the broken spears that you used yesterday. It should be no big problem." Well, the boss hunter goes back to his hunting guys and he says, "Hey, where are the broken spears?" Well, the hunters can't remember where the broken spears are. They can't see what the purpose of it is anyway. If they're broken, they're no good. So he goes back to the spearman. He says, "We can't find the spears." Spearman explains his dilemma. "See, my dilemma is I have these racks. They're full of spears. If I give you 7, that means I'm going to have 7 empty spots in here. I'm certain you can understand when the person from Spear headquarters comes down, they get upset at empty spots. Now, if I can show them the broken ones, then they realize they're being put to good use." Boss hunter says, "Yeah, I can understand that, but we don't have broken ones. What can we do?" "Well, I used to be a hunter. I want to see you get the job done. Therefore, if you help me, I'll help you." "Hey, what do I have to do to help you, spearman?" "Well, we have this report that we're filling out down. The headquarters people are doing it. They're filling it out. It's called a spear utilization report, the SIR report. And what they're trying to do is figure out, is there any relationship between how people use the spears, how quickly the spears are getting used up, this sort of stuff that people worry about." "Oh, okay, let me see the spear." So he shows him the spear utilization report, the SIR report. And the boss hunter looks at it and he says, "What? It says every time we throw a spear, we have to fill this out?" "Oh, yeah, the information's no good unless it's complete. You can understand that. We're out in the woods where, there's mud and everything. Well, what can I tell you? You want the spears?" "Yeah, I want the spears." "Okay. You want some information on how to fill it out?" "Well, what? It says humidity." "Yeah, there's a theory that believes, one school of thought believes, that there's a relationship between the humidity in which the spears are thrown and the amount of time that the spears hold their edge. And there's another school that says there's no relation. So we're trying to gather that kind of humidity. Where am I going to find the humidity?" "Well, I'd imagine you could, call the Weather Bureau or something like that. We don't have phones out there." "I'm certain you'll work something out." Temperature. "You want to know the temperature when I throw these?" "Yeah, there's another theory that believes that cold weather causes the spears to lose their edge more quickly. It's for your own benefit. You'll end up getting better spears." "Oh, my Lord. Do you want the spears?" "Yes, I want the spears." "Okay." So he gives him the spear utilization report. And the boss hunter gets his spears and off he goes. Now, what we see happening, if you'll notice, is that a function that was set up to assist the hunters and make their job more easy has now gotten in the way of doing their job. Rather than just letting them hunt the animals, now they have to hunt the animals and fill this report out. Well, the boss hunter's out there, and with any new report, he forgets about it. And he gets home at night, and he's in his tent there, or his cave, and his little children are doing their homework. And he reaches in his pocket, and suddenly he finds a spear utilization report, and it's blank. And he knows if he brings it back blank, he's not going to get any spears in the morning, and he won't be able to get the job done. So what